traffic, yes, school bus, yeah. Good morning. I'd like to call the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. It is Tuesday, February 19th, 2013, and it's now 8:33. Before we begin, I want to mention something about last week's, or I guess 10 days ago's, blizzard. First of all, I want to, in public, commend our Public Works Department, their staff, their management. They did a terrific job, as a matter of fact, a tremendous job, with the help of our outside contractors, clearing the roadways and making the town safe. And I think a very short period of time. Now, if your neighborhood wasn't plowed for a couple of days, you probably don't see it that way. But from where I stand, it was a short period of time. In a 12-hour period, we had over 3 feet of snowfall. That's a lot of snow. And it takes a big effort, a lot of commitment, a lot of stress on our equipment, a lot of stress on our staff. But they got the job done. Don't forget, we have 200 miles of road covering 48 square miles of territory in this town. It's a large town. Even though our population is only about 23,000, it's a very large town with a lot of roads. And the 200 miles of road is town road, doesn't even cover state road. Our guys are working around the clock with very little rest. Now, I appreciate the frustration and the anxiety and the anger that a lot of our residents had. But there is a procedure we follow, and it's not based on your neighborhood. It's not based on the amount of taxes you pay. It's not based on who you know or what position you might have in town. Every neighborhood is treated equally. So what is the procedure? The procedure is as follows. Our main roads, our major thoroughfares, are cleared first. Then we go to secondary roads, feeder roads, or side roads, and then subdivisions. This procedure has to be followed in order for us to get to emergency situations and to open up all our east, west, north, south thoroughfares. That's the procedure. It doesn't depend on your neighborhood, it doesn't depend on my neighborhood, it doesn't depend on any of the selectmen's neighborhood. That's how we follow it. After we get all the roads passable, now passable means just that. Could be a single road, even on a major thoroughfare. Once we get all of those opened up, and that includes now the subdivisions, we then go back and we widen the roads. We push as much snow as possible back to the curbs. This allows us to get our schools open, so our school buses are safe on these roads. So it's passable and then widening. Then we take down the sight lines. We cut them down so you can intersections get a little bit much safer. And then we attend to areas like around the green, which we did on Friday night, and our parking lots. We have only one, the municipal parking lot. That was handled late Friday night. And it was, I think, an excellent job there, too. The police cordoned off only certain sections for a little bit of time to get this snow removed. And I think all of our merchants and our restaurants appreciated that because by Saturday, everything was cleared. Okay. There was one issue that really upset me concerning residents complaining or hearing rumors that we cleared the school parking lots before we got to their neighborhoods. That's not true. The school parking lots are maintained by the Board of Education and under the control of the superintendent of schools. He has his own staff, their own equipment, and their own outside contractors. None of his staff, equipment, or outside contractors could have been used for the removal of snow from our streets and neighborhoods because it wasn't the right equipment. We did not sacrifice anybody's neighborhood to do the school parking lots. I just want to make that very clear. because their equipment, like I said, couldn't be used. Our fire department, we have some representatives here, by the way, it is equipped with snow removal equipment. They also were assigned, or a payloader, to stay with the fire department so we can get to every emergency. If we have to plow our way through, that payloader was with them, and in cases we did. We responded to every medical emergency. We also responded to people who needed special medication that they were running out of, residents who had to go to dialysis, and residents who had chemo treatments, which could not be postponed, obviously. They got there with the help of our fire department. Now, there is only one profession where we make an exception to and go into the neighborhoods and clear it, and that is the medical professionals. Any surgeon or physician who had to get to a hospital for a planned surgery called the fire department, and we were able to transport them. So the reason why I want to say this is because there's a storm like this, there's a lot of frustration, believe me. No one had more frustration than me and the rest of the selectmen here. But I think it was important that everybody understand the procedure, that no one is higher on the pecking order than anybody else. It's a system we follow, it's a procedure we follow that's followed by every town and city in this state and by every state in the country. That's the way you work it. Okay? Again, I want to thank the Public Works Department, their staff, their management for doing a fantastic job. I want to thank all our emergency service departments. I want to thank the selectmen, and I want to thank the residents who understood and put up with this. It's more than inconvenience. They were snowed in. We all were. I don't think any of us got out until at least Sunday afternoon or maybe Monday in some cases. And the contractors who stepped up to the plate. We were on the phone 4:30, 5 o'clock Saturday morning lining up our contractors. Now, they couldn't get here in some cases until Saturday afternoon because they had to plow themselves out. That's how severe this storm was. So I hope this kind of clears up a little bit the misconceptions, the rumors, and a little bit more understanding of how it works the next time. I hope it's not for a while. But again, I want to thank everybody who was patient and some of the nice letters and kind words and emails that I have gotten for the tremendous job that the Public Works staff and the emergency services staff did during this storm. Okay? Thank you. I'll continue with the meeting. First order of business would be the approval of minutes for the special workshop of February 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 1.2 would be the approval of the regular minutes for February 4th.
So moved.
Second.
Sleeping at the wheel.
Any additions or corrections?
Yep.
Anybody? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Public forum, limited to 3 minutes regarding any agenda item. Seeing none, we'll move on. Item 3, Finance Director Sheila Villano received monthly report.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Sheila.
Did you have fun following a school bus this morning? Is that so great?
They go earlier.
Was it a Guilford or Branford school?
In Branford.
Oh.
They stop at every house, too.
They do it here, too. Okay, Sheila, would you like to
Okay.
start off with revenue?
Yes.
Okay.
We still, the reports are through the end of January, and the taxes are still considered current through February 1st. So February 1st is not in this report. It's a big day of collections. So we'll have a better number for the second installment, really, for the next month, the February report. But tax collections are still strong, 94.98% versus 95.24% last year, and that really is just, it's really essentially the
Timing?
level.
Okay.
If we have one more day to really show the full impact. But bottom line, and I don't have my glasses with me today, in an effort to get.
You got four. You can take your pick.
No, I actually think I can do it. I might not be able to.
There you go, that just magnifies.
Oh, boy, that works well. 93.98% collected at the end of January, as opposed to 93.83% in last January,
Close.
last fiscal year, so it's very close. Really, there's nothing unusual to report from last month. Fire department looks really good. They are far ahead of where they were last year at this time, 51.55%. As a matter of fact, they should be at 50%, so they're still ahead and doing quite well. Building department is also ahead of where they were last year, 62.99% versus 56.9%. Gary, I'm sorry, you can't read your
That's okay, I'm
report.
listening.
So I think we're really in good shape with the revenue.
Why is there such a big discrepancy in the police department?
The police department is due to the cars that were rented last year for the storm. They sat, and when there were extra duty jobs and the car has to remain running at its job site,
Mm-hmm.
we bill the vendor, it's AT&T or CLMP, and that goes to the general fund. And it's a big discrepancy, but it's actually not big dollars in terms of the overall picture.
Okay. Any questions, other questions on revenue?
Not specifically to this report, but we read in the papers that the state is contemplating eliminating car taxes. What percentage of our tax revenues are automobile?
It's about at the current mill rate's about 3.7 million. Like a lot of the big city mayors, it's going to have said it's going to be a big impact on there. How successful that's going to be at in the General Assembly, I don't know. Okay, but obviously, if you lose that much money, I mean, it's all relative to the size of your town and your city. You have to make it up elsewhere.
There
And
was
the
a big
likely-
article in the Harper Current
Yeah,
that,
and the likely place you make it up is you increase the mill rate on property tax.
and I think all the mayors and first selectmen agreed that that was gonna have to happen.
Right.
That's hopefully. Okay, move on to expenditures.
Goes back.
I might.
There's a rental fee, just like the police department. We're gonna rent them to you for 5 minutes.
On expenditures, the bottom line for the town is 49.2% expended. Nope, I'm gonna go back to the first page, 65.8% versus 67.2%. That's with the storm expenditures. Sandy is reflected here. And if you go to the bottom of the report, you can see, and again, we do the calculation for the whole town, but there's $168,000 worth of Sandy storm expenditures this year, as compared to $395,000 of Irene the prior year. So the real apples to apples comparison is 55% expended this year versus 54.7 last year. So we're still on track.
Wait till you see next month.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna have to create a fourth line item now for the Blizzard
Storms.
13.
Is there, has any decision been made, or is it still in discussion about whether they're gonna extend the deadline for FEMA from 2 days longer?
No.
So we can recoup some of these expenses?
No decision has been made, but the governor's office and our entire congressional
Yeah.
delegation, which I've been in contact with, are pressing to go to the 72-hour versus the 48, because it doesn't make sense. So I haven't heard anything further than they're looking to get into it. Once, I don't know if Congress is back in session yet, but
No.
Senator Murphy's office said that once they get back in session, that's when they're going to address it. Okay.
And they were pretty liberal with their requirements for Sandy. They're giving us a lot more than they had for Irene. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with their decision on the blizzard.
But realistically, I mean, you look at some of the larger cities, you just can't
No.
do your job in 48 hours.
I read in the paper that Hamden said they would be at $1 million worth of
Yeah.
expenditures.
Yeah.
I don't even think they're back to school yet.
No, they're not.
Okay. Any questions on expenditures?
No, fine.
Medical is continuing. So-
Just keep it until you're done.
That's so weird.
Take my iPad, you can blow it up.
I know. We had a good month, and I think, again, it's because the number of contracts are down 943,000. We're projecting at this point a $290,000 surplus for the year. There have been no individual contracts that have met the stop loss, although 3 are exceeding 50% of the stop loss.
We exceeded.
Oh, they have, right, they have exceeded 50% of the stop loss. Which means we get a notice from Anthem to say that they're on their way to hitting the stop losses, actually. The Board of Ed, though, is going to reduce their contribution slightly because they have less contracts now than they originally budgeted because several employees have opted out into taking the waiver.
Oh, when you say reduce their contribution, they're talking about this year or next year's
This
budget?
year.
This year, okay.
They did the same thing last year, and we ended up, still in a positive position. And basically, they're trying to stay even with the claims.
Okay.
So we'll keep an eye on that as well.
Do you happen to know, regarding the stop losses, where we stand compared to last year? I mean, it's effectively a little over half.
No, but I can let you know that. I was tracking stop losses for a long time, trying to see if there was any trend there, but I can do that. Any other questions?
Okay, any questions? Is there anything else, Sheila? Okay. Everybody else set? Then? Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Sheila, appreciate it. All right, item 4, Park and Recs Director, Rick Maynard, 4.1, discuss and take possible action to award bid 34-1213, Tropical Storm Sandy, Jacobs Beach erosion, restoration, and related work. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning.
How did your Winter Wonderland go
Well, like I
yesterday?
said, there was one benefit of the snow. We had a great turnout
You
yesterday.
didn't have to truck any in this year,
No,
did you?
we didn't. We had
That's
a lot
what
of
I was gonna
activities.
say, expect a reduction in your budget, no trucking in the snow this year.
Yeah. But yeah, we had a great turnout, activities in the green at the community center. I don't have the exact number, but.
I was behind the horse and buggy yesterday, yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was great.
And we actually have a little sledding hill on the north end of the green, and kids were sledding. We had some sleds, the kids were sledding on that, and told them this is the first time it's good to make a mountain out of a molehill. A little
You
sledding.
know, I was gonna say it later, but I really have to compliment your department. And speaking to what Joe was talking about the departments, I mean, we've come to expect everybody to do a great job, but when you opened up the rec center, it almost seemed, because there was no power failure and people were getting cabin fever a little earlier and they were trapped in the houses. When you did that, I got a lot of positive feedback on that. It was a great idea.
Yeah, Wednesday we did that for, kids were out of school the third
Yeah.
day, and we, in short order, we had, pretty much was posted on Facebook and emails. We had about 150 people came out.
Had a lot of positive, it was great.
Thank you. Shifting gears, the Jacobs Beach Restoration Project. This is from the cleanup from Storm Sandy, not the improvement projects.
Has nothing to do with the,
With the long range.
With the long
No,
range
this is the
project.
cleanup from the Sandy. And basically, Jim Porley put the specs together for us on that, and it's clean up the sand that's in the playground area, restoring mulch there. There's sand that kind of spread out into the parking lot, cleaning that up, and around the boat racks, they're somewhat buried. And
The benches are literally buried. All you
Yeah.
see is the top of the back of the benches.
we found them, and we moved them.
I meant to take some
Yeah.
pictures of that. That was pretty neat.
They were, yeah, they was right up to the top. So that's what this project is. We had 10 bidders last week, and the ranges were $11,990 to $73,940. Quite a range there. Excuse me. And the low bidder was Running Brook Farm from, I believe they're in Killingworth. And based on the fact that we, generally we look at low bidder, they were the lowest price.
Where does the material, do they remove the material off-site?
That,
Or is it
no, a lot of sand we
reusable?
push back onto the beach. Jim identified areas where to put it, where they can move the sand. So we're gonna reclaim it, basically.
Okay.
Jim, is there anything you want to add to that? or?
No, it's a pretty straightforward project. There'd be really no purchasing of any materials by the contractor. It's just a labor and performance kind of contract. And Rick had some concerns because he hadn't any experience with this contractor. And I said, really, you just stay with him until he gets it done. And if he doesn't do it right, you don't pay him. I don't see any downside. If he's a good contractor, you pay him and you go forward. So, it's kind of a thing, when you haven't had experience with a contractor, you're kind of reluctant, and you couldn't, get a mixed bag of reviews. But I think this is pretty straightforward. I think it's, as long as we stay on it, well, the town is protected and they can still get the job.
There's a big difference in the price, so.
Oh, yeah.
Like Jim says, stay on until it's done, because maybe they,
Did we get a mixed bag of reviews on him,
I
when we
think
were
you
reference
got,
checking?
you got some towns, Rick could probably address better than I do, Wichita, Rick.
Yeah, there's some towns that did similar kind of work for that had positive reviews. There's some landscape architects I spoke with that were on their list of references that had less positive reviews, but there were different kinds of projects. It was more planting projects. This is not a planting project. It's removable sand, basically. But in the towns where, same thing for Storm Sandy, that they did removal of debris, they had good things to say about them.
So I don't think there's any reason not to go with it. You can get into there's no aesthetics involved. It's just pick up sand here and put it over there and make sure it's done right.
Well, my concern is that we have a Guilford vendor.
Yeah, and that, Rick and I had extensive conversations. We'd love to give it to a local guy, but the price differential is such that for this kind of work, it's hardly justifiable.
Okay, so, well, we're looking at, for this vendor, which is what you're recommending, right? Running Brook Farms, right, Rick?
That's the vendor, yeah.
Is $11,990. The vendor that you're mentioning, Veronica, which I had some concerns with, $20,350. That was the next lowest bid,
Correct.
okay? And then it went up from there to
73.
24,880, and then it was 46, 50,000, 59. I missed this one, 38, and almost 74,000 or 73,994, which is quite a range.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with Jim, though. You're just pushing dirt and moving it around. And it's, so I would move that we approve bid number 341213 in the amount of $11,990 to Running Brook Farms.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay. There's a motion on the table. Is there any further discussion or comments? Okay. None? All right, see none, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Post.
Okay, opposed. 3 affirmative, 1 in opposition. All right. Great, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we have item 5.1, appointments and resignation. Act on a resignation received from David Bell from the Conservation Commission. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. 5.2, act on a resignation from Charles McClure from the Conservation Commission.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
With regret from both of those guys.
Absolutely. Okay, act on a reappointment of Reno Mangidi, I believe that's pronounced, Jr., as a regular member to the Historic Commission for a term to expire January 31st, 2018.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 20-2, wow. Act on a reappointment of Randall McCartney as an alternate member to the Historic Commission for a term to expire January 31st, 2018. Do I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Yes, again. Town committees have been busy. 5.5, act on a reappointment of John Cunningham to the Tree Advisory Board for a term to expire February 28th, 2016.
So moved.
And a second moved, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Act on the reappointment of Shirley Girioni to the Tree Advisory Board for a term to expire February 28th, 2017.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Were you voting or not?
I said aye.
Okay. It's unanimous then. Act on a reappointment of Edward Crydell to the Tree Advisory Board for a term to expire February 28th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Act on a reappointment of Ellen McFarland to the Tree Advisory Board for a term to expire February 28th, 2015.
So moved?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5.9, act on a reappointment of Noel King to the Tree Advisory Board as the Conservation Commission representative for a term to expire February 28th, 2017.
So
So
moved?
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, we're up to 6, request for the use of town properties, 6.1 to 6.4.
I would move that we approve the two uses as listed in the agenda and the two signs as listed in the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Item 7, building officials monthly report in your packet. Any comments?
Hardly wait to see next one.
I take it Public Works was a little too busy to submit their report.
I have,
And that's okay.
I have given them a
I'm
dispensation.
only bringing that up as a
We'll get it.
point of
we'll get
humor,
it-
not
we'll
as
get
a
it
point of
later in the week.
criticism.
Yeah, no, I,
He was emailed this morning, it's really long.
Are you serious?
yeah.
Oh, God. God bless them.
We
All right.
plowed.
Yeah,
Too
long
long.
and plowed.
We
Yeah.
plowed. I don't even want to know the hour. Well, I do know the hours, but, okay.
Since I brought it up, I could take this at all business, but
Sure.
just one couple of comments on that. A lot of the calls I know, because I talked to Tommy when he was doing our neighborhood, and he, a lot of the calls went to them and actually slowed them down, and there were situations where citizens were out trying to drive, got caught in the snow and slowed the process down. So
Big problem.
they didn't just have the snow as an issue; they had
People.
people.
Right, okay.
But I heard some positive comments when they cleared around because they did a nice job clearing. They even cleared people. They didn't push it into the driveways and that sort of thing.
No, and in my comments in the beginning, I should have mentioned that they went the extra mile,
Yes.
no pun intended, to make sure that they didn't plow in driveways the best they could, which is something that
Yes.
is quite unusual.
Yes.
Okay. Seem you can get my comments on tape here. Any committee reports? Okay. Any old business? Any new business? No? Public forum limited to 3 minutes regarding any issue. Don't see anybody who wants to address the board. Okay. All right, we have 1, 2, looks like 3 items, separate items for discussion, which will have to be discussed in executive session. All right, I'm going to reverse the order
Yes.
if people, the board doesn't have a problem here. I'm going to take, first of all, the last one first, which is item 14. Consider and take possible action on a request for extension of additional sick time for a member of the police department. We'll take that first. And I'm going to invite members of the police commission, Chief Terabile, and who else we got back there? Okay. We got Officer Hill And
Detective Bill.
officer, detective, does it matter?
Pays the same.
Pardon me?
Pays the same.
Okay, all right. And is that it, Chief? We have Commissioner Hedberg and yourself and Officer Hill. Okay.
You want me to?
And I'm sorry, Mitch Goldblatt, I forgot about him. He was sitting in the corner. I didn't see him.
I move that we go into
Well,
executive session.
there's three different sessions,
Okay,
okay. All right, so let's take that one at a time. I'll take your motion first,
I move that we go into executive session on item 14.
okay? There's a second.
Second.
And that's with the invited guest?
We're gonna go
Move that
in and
we
out?
Stay in executive session.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
and
to the
then-
other
And then
three.
invite
Right.
the others in as appropriate.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do, okay? All right, so that'll be the first item on executive session. The second item, I'm working backwards, is consider and take possible action on extension of personnel contracts. And for that, I'm gonna invite the chairman of the Fire Commission, Commissioner Wilson, and I'm also gonna invite Captain Shelf, okay? And Mitch Colvat, all right? And, oh, he's here, he's here, okay. And our attorney, Mr. Dorney, okay? And item 12, which is gonna be the third item, so let's have a motion for that second one, please.
I'm so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the last item in executive session, discuss and take possible action on the revised Town of Guilford Employees Pension Plan, which will have Mr. Dorney, Mr. Goldblatt, our Finance Director, Sheila Volano, and we might call back one or two of the gentlemen here after conversation with Mr. Dorney, okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll start with item 1, which will be requiring the police department.